Thanks for joining me. This is Jason Triefenbach for Ecstatic Agendas. Today I'm reading from The Secret Lore of Egypt, Its Impact on the West by Eric Hornung, translated from the German by David Lorton. Amenhotep, son of Hapu, a favorite of Amenophis III, directed such projects as the erection of the Colossi of Memnon. Later, he was worshipped as a deified sage and a healing god. On one of his statues from the Temple of Karnak, circa 1360 BCE, he states, "I was introduced to the book of the god. I saw the transfigurations of Thoth and was equipped with their mysteries." These formulations already sound quite hermetic, with their initiation into the wisdom of the Egyptian god Thoth, the later Hermes Trismegistus, and into a divine book that the god wrote and revealed. But the roots of Hermeticism might reach deeper, back to the beginning of the second millennium BCE. According to Edmund Hermsen, it was the priests of the Temple of Thoth in Hermopolis of Dynasty 12, circa 1938 to 1759 BCE, who conceived of the Book of Two Ways, which can be called the first Hermetic work. As the earliest description of the hereafter, it is an important precursor of the books of the netherworld of the New Kingdom. Nearly all our copies of this book stem from El Bersha, the burial place of the monarchs of the 15th nome of Upper Egypt, and thus the rulers of Hermopolis, the city of Thoth. In their inscriptions, they call themselves genuine son of Thoth. Thoth was viewed as the embodiment of wisdom even earlier in Dynasty 11. The leader of an expedition to the Wadi Hammamat calls himself more intelligent than Thoth. And otherwise, in the early Middle Kingdom, we often encounter the claim that someone was instructed by Thoth. In the Old Kingdom, the god's violent traits still predominated. As lord of foreign countries and lord of slaughter who overthrows Asia, he was credited with trampling foes underfoot and assisting the king in smiting the enemies. In the pyramid texts, he lops off heads and cuts out hearts. His oft-mentioned knife is surely the crescent moon, which also served Khons, the other moon god, as a weapon. But he is already also a judge and messenger of the gods, as well as the guardian of the eye of Horus, and his wings assist the deceased in ascending to the sky. His origin was as shady as his nature. According to the contendings of Horus and Seth, Thoth originated from the seed of Horus, but he was born by Seth, and thus he united in himself the contradictory essences of these eternally combating brothers, between whom he constantly mediated. The preferred representations of Thoth were as an ibis or a baboon, and as a composite figure with the body of a man and the head of an ibis. Though it seldom happened, he could also be pictured as purely human in form, as in the Khan's chapel in the small Thoth-Hermes temple at Luxor, which is important in that later Hermes Trismegistus was often viewed not as a god but as a human sage. It is in the coffin texts, religious spells written on the coffins of officials of the Middle Kingdom, that we first hear of a divine book of Thoth. This historical period thus inaugurated the important tradition that viewed the god as the author of sacred writings. At the same time, as already mentioned, he became Lord of Wisdom and Lord of Rituals and Offerings. He was connected with magic, while in the tale of the eloquent peasant, his judicial function makes him the protector of the legal system. His nature developed still further in the New Kingdom, when he was regarded as the deity responsible for all culture and invention. Pharaoh could thus be called Thoth in every respect, for the god's qualities were united in him. Sacred writings were ascribed to the god, or said to be found at the feet of his statue. He plays an important role in a number of spells from the Book of the Dead, especially in the first spell, in which the deceased, identified with Thoth, turns to Osiris as Bull of the West and legitimates himself through his knowledge. He functioned as scribe whenever divine documents, letters, decrees, testaments, had to be written, and as lord of the divine words, he was responsible for the Egyptian writing system. He also oversaw the calendar and the measurement of time in the representations in the temple of Deir el-Bahari depicting Queen Hatshepsut's expedition to Punt. He personally records the products brought from that distant land, and in many scenes to be found in temples, he writes the name of the king on the leaves of the sacred Ishid tree. In depictions of the judgment of the dead, he records the results, and he sometimes also tends to the scale. He is often depicted in the sun bark, especially as a baboon, and he functions as the sun god's deputy. In the colophon of spell 100 of the Book of the Dead, he is accorded the task of registering the passengers in the sun bark as they disembark and embark. This book was originally published in German in 1999. I'm enjoying the English edition quite a bit. As academic texts go, it's fairly plain spoken and easy to follow. Hermes Thoth-Mercury, as I think of him, later came to be associated with the day Wednesday, which is why I'm posting this today on a Wednesday. As my personal pantheon of devotional relationships develops, I hope to work with this god of wisdom, of writing, of magic, and of passageways and connections more and more. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe below. Hail Hermes Thoth-Mercury.